Mahernigans, we're on vacation. Get the boot, Bongo. Talking about going to this Fungamata ice block stick model village for I don't know how long, eh kids? I know, it's a bit too exciting. You know, I hear that they have an ice block model of Huntley Power Station with cotton ball smoke coming out of the smokestacks. True story. You know, I hear the guy that built it, he died of lemon lime poisoning shortly after. That's pretty sad. Actually, it's really sad. But when you give something so big back to the world, you know, it's really actually quite heroic. Don't you think, kids? I just love what you're doing with your hair these days, Lindy. You know, when I was young, I had an afro. That was quite the thing to have in those days. You know, I'll bet you never knew, but your mama here, she was a regular bike when she was your age, Courtney. Weren't you, darling? She was getting done by the local gym teacher and the football team, and that was just Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Remember that gym teacher, Mr. McCluskey? People say he looks an awful lot like you, Chad. Now, if you could be any kind of animal, what would you be? Nana Jones always said she wanted to be reincarnated as a Yeti. Bongo? Bongo, stop that! Stop licking your balls, Bongo. When I was in China, and I was at that Interesting Things Expo a few years back, well, the whole thing just turned into a Chinese musical, and I just had to wing it. You know, Chinese, it ain't that hard. Xing Zhao, Qing Tai, Xing Zhang, and Pung Jiang, and Wang Dong. It happens to be a true story. It's a true story. And then the ambassador came over with a big Ferrero Maroche, and he said, Hernigan, I would be honored if... Now there's a guy who looks like he needs a good Samaritan. What do you say, mahernigans? Welcome to the Mahernigan wagon. That's our car. Say you.
And in breaking news, the convicted killer Ryan O'Reilly Violent has escaped custody today and is at large. He is described as a tall man disguised as a slightly smaller man disguised as a penguin with a bad case of wind and an oversized mustache. He is believed to have the strength of 20 oxen, with the ability to shoot flaming swords of phlegm from his eyes, and keeps his victims' heads in plastic bags. He has become the greatest threat to humanity the world has ever seen. People everywhere are amok with panic. Flee, good folk, the end is nigh. Doom, 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 and God be with you on this glorious day. This is Alex Puddle for CNP and NBG. Next we have Marjorie with a story about shrubs.
He'll stand out in the crowd. Hey, that's a really nice bag you got there. Is that a genuine leather? It's got a real nice shine. So, how long have you been a hitchhiker? I used to think that hitchhikers were a bit like cheese. Now, I bet you're a man who enjoys a good story. And this just so happens to be a true story. The Anglican rhino, rice in Grandma's beard. Say you, say me, say it together. Ole Olsen was on fire. You know what I'm saying, man? I mean, the barn is gonna lay an egg. It just doesn't fit. I mean, it just doesn't fit. Right on, Jojo. You're a 10-foot Geronimo. You know, work with me, mother. Work with me. Will there be billiards in heaven? That's what I think of you, Beatrix Potter. Whew, asparagus. So you want us to just drop you off at the end of this dark, deserted road? Remember when Chad glued his head to the Frigidaire?
That was interesting. He was on his way to nice men who looked like escaped murderers but are not support group in the forest.
Nice of him to give us all these interesting things from his bag. Not long until we get to the ice block stick village now, mahernigans. Wind down the windows, that way we could really smell the PVA. Looks like another lost lamb needs a little Bo Peep.